an entrepreneur has to always be ready for challenges, and challenges have essentially been part, not just from the start of my entrepreneurial journey, but essentially through every part of it until today. So the first challenge was, of course, trying to understand the business, trying to understand how to run a business without really going through the learnings of it, so to speak. So I had to actually learn about the business, learn about finance, learn about various technical aspects of the business as I entered, and dealing with customers, dealing with troublesome customers, if I might say so, was all learned on the job. So that was probably the first challenge that I had. It took me maybe about 6 months to a year, and I was able to sort of transition into the role of the leadership. Had a lot of help along the way, a lot of people supported me, including customers, and I was able to come over that transition. Next was, of course, several transformations the business had to conduct, simply because we were not very successful as a business, and we had to transform ourselves multiple times. We were a simple component manufacturer. That meant that we were not able to get margins for our product, which means we had to be something unique or special as far as our customers were concerned, and that was a huge challenge. How do you change something that has been in existence for almost, I think, 25 or 30 years at that point, into something that is completely new? How do you get an entire old team to think completely new? So that was another challenge. More recently, we've had to undergo another transformation where we're trying to convert the business from just a component manufacturer and assembly manufacturer to somebody else's design, to something that we'd like to make for ourselves. We'd like to design products and make products with our own brand name. And that has been, again, another interesting challenge. So I can say that challenges are part and parcel of an entrepreneur's journey. And I feel almost that I encounter a new challenge every month, and it's been exciting. I think the mindset was there is no choice. There is no alternative. Change is the only thing that is a constant. We have to be ready to change at any given point of time. I think that was my mindset. Of course, the market conditions were such that we had no alternative, but we had a choice. We could have sold the business, we could have continued to exist at that level and started a new business, but I made a choice that we will transform this particular business. In doing so, one of the key things we had to do was to convince our leadership team that a change is required. Not everybody was on board with that. So a professor recently told me, he said, either you're on the bus or you're off the bus.
You cannot be in between.
You cannot be in between. And so some of the people who were convinced were with us, and some of the people who weren't had to go their own way. And another professor said, change the people or change the people, which means either change the mindset of people or change the people itself.
I really like that.
You need a team. There is no doubt about that. Without a team, no entrepreneur can be successful. A team is essentially the reason why a business or enterprise is successful. The alignment of goals between that team is why a business is successful. So the first step was to get the team correct and on board. Once that happened, it was merely sitting together and figuring out a plan as to what we were going to do. And then the team was able to execute to that plan, and we were able to come through to the first transformation. From the challenges, I think, is to keep at it. There have been several challenges where at the beginning of the challenge or while going through it, you are almost certain that this is going to be the end of you or the end of the company. But keeping at it, waking up the next morning and chipping away a little bit at the problem, coming back the next day and working again, just keeping at it day in and day out, and having the conviction and belief in yourself that sort of no challenge is insurmountable. It's a lot easier said than done, to be honest. I've gone through several days where my frustration has been way beyond my ability to convince myself to go back to work the next morning. But somehow you need to find the strength to keep at it. You need to convince yourself that tomorrow is going to be a better day, or day after is going to be a better day, and you keep at it. And slowly but surely you will find a small success, and that small success is something you build on. Every little success that came our way during the challenge was something that we built on, and then the next success came, and slowly the challenge was surmounted. Let me give you an example. We are now trying to go through a HR transformation journey in our business. When we started, the group of people whom we were trying to convince were not on board at all. It took me, I think, 1 year just to convince them that what I was doing was not going away, and they had no choice but to adjust to it. It took me 1 more year to convince them about the process. So you just have to keep at it. A little bit at a time, keep at it. I think there are several things that drive me as an entrepreneur. I think one of the key things that used to drive me and still does to a very large extent is the fact that I can create some change. I can create some impact. What excites me most about my business is not the business itself, but the transformation of that business. It's a challenge. It's going into the sort of unknown, finding that you're completely out of place, but making sure that you keep at it, and then you slowly get comfortable. And that's the part that when you're comfortable and then you actually make that transformation happen. From a manufacturing company to a design company is a huge challenge, because we don't really worry in a manufacturing company as to what the end user of the product thinks about. But in a design company, you have to think about what the end user wants. And we have no idea about how to achieve that transformation. But slowly, a little by little, building on several failures and successes, you find a pathway. That journey is really exciting to me. Creating that impact on imagining that if Nash was not there, would that product be better? Creating impact, that's probably what drives me as an entrepreneur. I guess that's basically it. Getting a bunch of people with different ideas, different thought processes aligned towards a common purpose is another thing that really excites me. That's building a whole community of people that believe in your vision and are willing to take it forward.
So it's the impact which is exciting.
It's the journey.
It's a journey.
It's really the journey. It's really willing to take those risks and willing to see something that nobody else has seen, and actually get that transformed into reality. That's what's exciting. I had several, I think. I had several kinds of role models. I read a book, two books. Lee Iacocca was an early role model, not his latter part of his life, but his early part of his life. Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. These are the two biographies that I read that were absolutely remarkable and made a huge impression on me when I was young. Growing up, as I lost my father, I had our Guruji, Dada Vaswani, who was a guiding light to me, and his humility, his ability to have the patience and humility were qualities that I really admired, and that made a huge impact on me. More recently, some more books that I have read were on Shoe Dog, Phil Knight's biography, Richard Branson's biography. All these are stories of entrepreneurs who've literally reached the brink of disaster several times, but managed to stick in there and kind of made it happen. So these are some of the role models that I had growing up. Yes, absolutely critical. There are several things that I read. Of course, I'm very current on the news. I think reading, listening to podcasts, figuring out what you need at that point in time. At times you need inspirational books. So I think you're familiar. I've read and recommended a lot of books like Grit and Mindset. Those I needed at a point in time in my life when I was struggling with inspiration on how to transform things. At other times, you need books and sort of strategies on how to actually do the nuts and bolts of digital transformations. So I think learning is essentially a lifelong journey. You can never be at a point in life where you think you can't learn. So I make it a point that I spend significant time every year learning, whether it's by reading, whether it's by listening to people, whether it's by attending events, seminars, conferences. I make sure that I'm constantly engaged in an environment of learning and try and update myself. That's the only way I believe that one can achieve transformation.
So it's learning and acquisition of knowledge.
Yes, learning, and I think having sort of the mindset that you don't know it all.
Yeah.
I think I'm the first person in a meeting that raises my hand and says, I don't understand, can you please explain? Without worrying about whether I'm looking dumb or stupid. The idea is you have to learn, and whether you learn from somebody who is in a hierarchy much smaller than you but knows much more about the process is important. So yes, absolutely, you have to learn and continue to do so, and have the mindset that you don't know and will never know everything. I think the first reaction that most of us have when a challenge is thrust upon us, I think, is of fear. Is fear of failure, fear that this challenge is insurmountable. I think the first aspect is to convince yourself that you can do it, that you have the ability somewhere deep inside of you to face that challenge. And I think that I believe in this very strongly, that we are not given challenges bigger than what we can handle. Every challenge is an opportunity for us to grow as a person, as a human being, as an entrepreneur. So firstly, we must not get fearful of a challenge. And I think the rest of it is really what I've already said, keeping at it, seeking out for help. very often our egos prevent us from asking other people for help.
Yeah.
I am not afraid or ashamed to ask people for help. When I'm faced with a challenge, I make sure that I'm talking to several people and trying to understand how they would advise me to face that challenge. Of course, in the end, I take my own decision. But I think as you talk to more people, you realize that everybody faces challenges. Challenges is nothing new. And then you build on that strength that you draw from others, and that allows you the opportunity to start facing your challenge. The actual technical aspects of it or the strategic aspects of it differ from situation to situation, but it comes down to your sort of attitude towards that challenge, of how you're willing to face it. And that's it. So I would say, don't be afraid. It will one day be a distant dream. And I think many successful entrepreneurs are asked this question as to whether they would do something different in their life, in their journey as an entrepreneur. And I don't think I've ever heard a single entrepreneur say that they would not have faced the challenges that they did. Every challenge that they have faced is a learning for them, and so it has been for me.